Well, I'm not gonna be by myself doing this tonight. It makes it a little more entertaining when people are watching. So, oh wait a minute, we got two folks. Hey, it's a party. It's officially a party if you got more than two people, right? So, I'll give it a minute for some folks to get there. If anybody's got any questions, what I'm doing tonight, guys, is I'm working on catching up on my bamboo cutting boards that I sell to a business customer here locally, and I've got 10 of them to do. So I've got them all out and ready. So if anybody shows up, next few minutes we'll get started. But I'm gonna give it just a few minutes. So if you got any questions, comments, concerns, or whatever. Oh wow, we went from 3 to 18, so we really got a party now. But that's gonna be the name of the game tonight, guys. We gotta do these. So, and you don't got to stick around to watch all of them if you don't want, or you can just hang out with me. Because this is the way I look at it, guys. Yeah, I could probably spin up another machine and get these done twice as fast. But I like doing lives while I'm working on stuff because it gives everybody an opportunity to ask questions and see the results. And when I tell you that I've engraved bamboo before, you know I'm not joking. Because, like I said, we're fixing to do 10 bamboo cutting boards tonight. Now, I've been doing a little prep work today, so I've done my speed test with the MK2 because I haven't done a lot of bamboo with it since I've had it. I had a problem because I didn't have it ventilated properly, but as you can see, I've added a ventilation hose and I now have it properly ventilated, so I ain't got to be breathing bamboo dust. And this is going into garbage after this video. This was a mess up. I don't remember what exactly happened with this one. I think I burned the same one twice accidentally, but I've got two of them. What's up, Steve? Y'all, there's Steve in the house. Quit using that T word, Steve. Nobody wants to hear about taxes. I mean, you're trying to mess up my February. That's a March thing because, guys, I don't get in a rush because I have to pay them. So, but yeah, if you're just coming in, please hit the like button. Please. While you're at it. But bamboo, first of all, we're going to break down the basics. Guys, if you're experienced at this and you know more about it than I do, I apologize. But first of all, bamboo technically is not a wood. It's more of a grass or a reed or whatever you want to call it. It is a fibrous material that is it's very durable. It does make some pretty cool products that are very rugged, very strong for their size. But the one thing that I will tell you about bamboo, and I don't care how you do it, what kind of process you use, bamboo is always going to have every bamboo I have found. You're going to have parts that are going to burn darker and parts that are going to burn lighter. So when you're doing speed tests on bamboo, just like if you look at these speed tests back here, this is a speed test with two different machines. But as you can see, woo, dyslexic looking at that camera. This little strip right here obviously is not engraving as dark as this strip here. And if you look up here above where the engraves are, you can see that there's a difference in the grain of the material. The darker brown is going to burn like black, and this other part over here where it's kind of a blonde color is going to burn less. So you kind of got to pick a middle ground setting for this stuff and just go with it. And just understand that variations in the color is going to happen with bamboo unless you're going to paint fill it or whatever. And I do not recommend paint filling things that you're going to be cutting up tomatoes on or whatever. So, but let's see what we got in the comments right quick in case anybody's got any questions that I missed before we start one of these things. Bob, hello from Iowa. Rhonda, hello. Rusty, how are you, sir? At the station, watch me on patrol. Keep it safe, guy. Watch your six. Don't be paying too much attention to the screen. What's up, Ken? How are you? Massachusetts. Angels Crafty Halo, Indiana. Well, hello from Indiana there. Chuck, down in south of me in sunny Florida. I bet y'all had some really nice weather. It was like 72 here today. I've been working with the door open most of the day. I've been working on stove covers. You can see those propped up against the toolbox over there. And I just decided to quit messing with them. And I'm going to stain them in the morning, put the handles on, the little felt pads and call those done. But these are a companion product that goes with those, so we'll try to get these done tonight. Mickey, how are you? Still haven't learned how to cut in Lightburn. Well, Mickey, Lightburn's not terribly hard to learn. Just start out simple. Find yourself some cardboard or construction paper, or just find yourself something cheap to play with and just have fun. And I mean, if you really want to just do it on wood, you can, but you know, wood can be a little more expensive. A lot of the training that you need to do for Lightburn, you can do using the box that the laser came in. Cardboard actually is a decent product to practice, especially cutting. It'll engrave too, but you got to get the right settings. Let's see here. Angel Crafty. Yep. Thank you for the like there, Angel. Appreciate that. That does help because, you know, I don't want to sit here by myself. And the more people like the video, the more people actually see the video. Yeah, well, Steve, I know I'm going to pay them. It's just a question of how much I'm going to pay them, but I try to keep enough put back at the end of the year to where I can just write Uncle Sam a check and get over it quick like a Band-Aid. I do not like going through it for extended periods of time. Gillette from Belize, how are you, sir? Christy from Charleston, South Carolina. Mr. Jim Castro, how are you? The bamboo I have cut, I use 22-degree angle. Yeah, you can. If the material runs the way, you can change it up. You can do 0 degrees. You can do, I mean, like this one, I went with the grain on this speed test. Across the grain, it's however you want to do it. I really haven't noticed that big of a difference if you pick the right setting. I get really good results as far as the appearance of it anyway. And the machines actually move faster without the angles, and so it's not really worth the added time sometimes to try to mess with that, in my opinion. Can't cut foam board, but we'll try cardboard. Hey, cardboard's pretty easy. You just go get yourself some construction paper. You can buy a pack of construction paper and have fun with that. You can cut out all kinds of shapes, make little, you know, figurines and stuff with it. All right, so looks like everybody is in. Sit down and relaxing. You got you a drink where you can keep yourself hydrated. But so I did the testing today, and I'm just going to go through here. And I know this camera is not the best camera for looking at stuff like this, but you can see the darker material and the lighter material, and you can see an obvious difference between the two. So what I try to do, let me give me a little pointer stick here. What I try to do is I try to look at the darks and the lights. I don't want the darks to go too dark, and I don't want the lights to go too light. But one thing I will tell you about bamboo it also is before you can tell 100%, you need to clean it. So since I'm not going to be eating off of this one, and I don't want to take it in the house and use water and dish soap, I'm just going to slide over here and grab some Windex and a rag and wipe it real quick just to make sure I'm getting the actual look after it's been cleaned. Got the Windex. So, but you will notice that a lot of this black will come off of bamboo. Generally, I'll wash them in the sink using soap and water. That way, it's nothing that when the person gets the cutting board, it's nothing that's gonna like taste like Windex. You know, if you decide to cut a tomato on it and don't wash it, you don't want any kind of chemicals or anything absorbing into it. So, usually they just get Dawn dishwashing liquid and water in the sink beside the kitchen. Callie says, "Hey." So it's bedtime for Callie. She's got to climb up the ladder. Callie is scared to go through the curtain, so she climbs around the curtain. The rest of the cats know that there's a seam in the middle of the curtain, and they'll just pop right through it, but not Callie. But, now, yep, Lightburn 15 point, what was it, 1.5.01, yeah, it's out, and, yeah, it changed a few things, but not anything I use a whole lot, so we're good. But there you go. After I clean it, you can see there's a little bit more of a variation. So what I've decided to do is I kind of like the look of the 200 at 100 millimeters per second, or at 100% power. and I think that is where I'm going to end up going. And because the bamboo on these boards runs up and down, I'm going to be running left to right to try to get the best burn I can. I also run the LPI up just a little bit with bamboo because it does seem to give me a little darker burn. I didn't really do that on the test because I was in a hurry, but that's what we're going to do in the real world. So let me put my stuff out of the way. Move you over to the screen here and make sure I got my light burn up and just show you where I've been doing a little bit of playing with the machine, but we're going to get started with this job. And if you have any questions or anything, drop those in. But you may want to like throw a couple question marks up there to catch my attention because I'm trying to multitask and that gets me sometime. All right, so this is a little design that I did earlier, just playing around and testing the design that I had in there. So I'm going to go ahead and home the machine just to make sure that we are homed. And to get it out of the way of the camera, I'm going to go ahead and use my little park position here to move it up and out of the way. Well, I said I was. There it goes. Somebody didn't click it properly. So that'll get it up out of the workspace so I can update my overlay without having the gantry in there. And hit that button. So there's my cutting board. I do have a file that I've already built and it's made especially for this setup. It's already got this frame that is locked in place as well as the graphic already in there. So all I gotta do is hit update overlay. And I'm gonna frame out one time just to make sure that nothing's changed, but typically it doesn't. So here we go, we're gonna frame it. All right, the frame looks good, guys. So we're ready to get started on this thing. So the first name on my list, and I keep a dry erase board on the back of my door. The first name is Cartee, C-A-R-T-E-E, and someone forgot to turn on the uppercase. So I'm gonna turn that on there. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that save button so that I don't have to fool with that next time. And so there we are. Now, all I've got to do is make sure that my settings are correct, which is not. I'm going to go ahead and apply the setting that I have for bamboo here over to the machine. And you can see I'm running a 0 scan angle left to right because the bamboo's grain runs down the bamboo from back to front, front to back. 200 millimeters a second, 100% power. I've got my LPI bumped up just a little bit to 150 just to give me a good solid overlap with the bamboo. Seems to help sometimes to keep some of the lines down. And that's it. So go ahead and send this one and we'll kind of chill out and see how it works. So as you can see, the Rolly is off, or the Lasermatic is off to the races, guys. It'll be just a few minutes before this one's done, but this machine, one reason I decided to start doing the cutting boards with it is because it is very fast. It moves really quick. So we're gonna see. I haven't. This is the first one that I've done with these settings on the machine, so I feel pretty confident about it. But we're gonna look at it before we move on to the next one and see if I need to make any adjustments or anything. But you'll notice I did finally get my exhaust ran for the MK2, and it goes out the back of the shop, back there where I park the tractor and everything under the lean-to. I've just got to get my little dryer vent flap, whatever, put on it. Right now it's just a pipe running out the side of the building. So I got a piece of 4-inch PVC run out through there. Well, I can't use the glasses on the computer. I can only do that for like B-roll and stuff, unfortunately. Now I could use my little wireless machine over here. Hang on. All right, so I mean I could use this. But there you go. There you are. But I'm afraid Steve's going to start hollering about his Dramamine or whatever if I use that. But I did a little short with the glasses today, and I think that's going to be pretty cool to do some little short videos of different projects without having to spend a whole lot of time doing it, because I can literally just take the picture. I mean, the glasses are up here. They're covered in dust because it's dusty, but they're in here charging, which I love this case. I haven't had to charge the case since I got them. I've charged them back 3 or 4 times so far, and I haven't had to plug it up yet. So, I've tried bamboo boards with the P2. Yes, actually, before, since just about every machine that I've had in the shop that I used has done cutting boards at one time. It's like I've been using the longer form for the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. I've used Algo Laser. Of course, I used X Tool, the D1 and the D1 Pro. I've used the P20, the V35. Haven't done bamboo on the P2 yet, on the X Tool yet. I may let it do the next batch and do a video with that. I try to share the love and mix it around. I don't want to get hung up on any one machine. I mean, because the machines they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and I see somebody's asking me that now. Albert, it depends. I mean, because I do a lot of different jobs. Yes, I have done them on the S1. I forgot about that. I did use the S1 because when I first built my S1 jig kit, I actually built myself a bamboo cutting board jig for it as well. But it depends on what the job is. You know, if it's for stove covers, those things propped up against over there, I have to have a large work area. I use the Adam Stack X40 now. In the past, I've used the Acer V35, the Acer P20, and currently I'm running the Adam Stack in enclosure Zilla over here. And because that's a massive work area, you're talking 850 millimeters wide, and it's just big enough to work with the stove covers. So, and then to my left over here, I have the longer B1. That's the 30-watt model. I use it on a lot of jobs. It has the jig kit and everything already set up in there for it. I've got the observation cam in there, all that good stuff. So, it just depends on the job. The MK2, the reason I'm kind of leaning on it for my bamboos this weekend is because it's really fast. And if you look, I mean, it's knocking that thing out quick. And the reason is because I will say this, as far as movement through the engrave for multi, like, spot engraves, I guess you could say, anything that has like little spots of engraving to do and has white space in between them, I will say that the first fast machine that I ran across was a Otura LM3 20 watt, and then the Algo laser came along and it was really fast. And now the Rolly, or the Lasermatic, I'm gonna say it's probably close to as fast as the Algo laser is, but it brings a 30 watt power capability to the fight as opposed to just a 20. So it's a contender when it comes to like engraves like this on smaller items. It will do these bamboo cutting boards faster than my 40 watt will. Not because of the power, but because of the way the head moves. Now the longer, it'd be a close race between the MK2 and the longer as far as who could do the cutting board first. I mean, it's no slouch, but it's not. I don't think it's quite as quick as that one. Oh no, Steve, that machine is living out its best years up in the attic. That thing, I've only found one job that machine was suitable for. By the way, machine is S1 40 watt. Yeah, that's what I've got, the 40 watt also. S1. It's sitting. Well, I think you could barely right up right there. You can barely see the top corner of it. It sits right there. I've got it on a cart, and it sits right there. And my new vent hose that I just put in today, if you notice, I've got some extra back here. That's so that I can actually run that vent hose around there to the S1. I can run it to my testing table. I can run it to this machine, or in the event that I decide to run that one, I can run it to it. So I had to have another inlet other than running the hose out the cat door. The cats were really getting annoyed with me blowing smoke out their cat door and them not be able to come in here to go to sleep or whatever. Yeah, well, I got the We Create app the other day, guys, and I was going to make a video with it. I had a project. I was like, okay, this is a project that I think the We Create could do and do a pretty good job of. So, I got everything set up. I got in there. I went to working with it, and I got irritated with the software because it wouldn't let me select individual parts of my SVG. And after about 10 minutes of messing with it, I said, you know what? Never mind. And I think I wound up doing it on the P2. it was it was an engrave. It was a cutting board. That's what it was. It was just a simple engrave on a wooden cutting board. But the software is the real hang up for that machine. I'm hanging on to the faith that maybe one day it'll work with Lightburn, but so far, no dice. So there we go. It's getting close to being done. I may have to just walk outside and wash this one off with the water hose because I do not want to spray Windex on this one. So we may have to do that. But I do have a water hose outside. But it'll just be water. Got some car washing and some hand washing stuff, but I don't have any dish soap out there. Oh, it's on the last little stretch. See, watch how fast this thing moves. When it gets done, watch this. Don't blink. There it goes. So, one's down. All right, so my cutting boards come individually wrapped, which can be a bit of a nuisance when you're doing a bunch of them, but it keeps them from getting dirty, and it also keeps them from absorbing moisture. So if your shop is not necessarily dry, it might be a good thing. One thing that I do like to do, when you look at these cutting boards, you remember me telling you that this darker material is going to engrave darker and the lighter is going to engrave lighter. If you can find the side that maybe it doesn't have as much of the dark or as much of the light, and it's like the majority of the wood is in one spot, then that's the side I would choose. Like this side, I can tell you now, is going to have a lot of black strips in it because of these dark places. So I like this side better for engraving. So I'm going to engrave this side. All right, to the screen. All right, second on the list is Walker. And I'm going to frame just for good measure because I did kind of fumble around a little bit there. All looks well on the frame. Yeah, Lisa, those are from Amazon. I didn't think to put a link, but I will. Give me just a few minutes. Let me get this one going here. So back to the screen, and we're going to go ahead and start this one because I feel pretty good after seeing the other one. But give me a second. I'm going to wash it just in case so we don't do all 10 of them before we realize that the settings need to be tweaked. But there is before you wash it. Now, it's going to change color. Pay attention. It's going to change color. I can guarantee you that. Be right back. Sprayed myself with the hose, and it's raining outside. All right, so it ain't exactly soap and water, but there you go. So you can see I do have a few little light spots in there, but all in all, that's really good. Like right here, this little section here didn't want to take the burn as well as the rest of it, but for bamboo, that's a win in my book. So there we go. But yeah, and I do use a little bristle brush when I wash them inside because this is just barely recessed. I don't go in enough to where it's going to create a problem with like holding pieces of food or whatever. But people actually like when you engrave something, they like to at least be able to feel it. If you just kind of mark it, one, as they use it, if you just kind of discolor the outside, as that outside edge chips off and stuff like that, it's going to start messing with the engrave a little bit. But I find that actually being able to tell that it's engraved and not just painted on there or sticker seems to be what the folks that I sell to anyway, seems to be what they want. So there we go. One down. Time saver tip. While you're waiting on one to burn, go ahead and pull the plastic off the other one. And I'll get us a link here in a second. All right, so with this one, it's kind of neck to neck on the dark and the lights, but I don't like these two little knots being right in the middle where my graphic's going. I'd rather put it on this side, so I'm gonna go with that side. All right, I just reordered cutting boards, so let me go to my Amazon account here, and I will drop a link and break my chat right quick for you guys, because I just had to order 2 more boxes of them. The ones I'm buying, these guys are $54.99 for 12, which comes out to around $4 and some change a piece. And after you customize them, low end, you can get 20 bucks if you're just doing like random stuff and selling it at shows. But for the customization like I'm doing with these I sell to a business partner that is a customer. And these I get $35 tax and all. Like that's my flat fee. It's $35. Now some of that is taxes, but yeah. So you can make money off of them. That's not a question. But there is the link to these bamboo button cutting boards, and I'll put that right there and see if it breaks my chat. No, it didn't break my chat. So there you go. But you can also go to my Amazon shop. If you go to the Amazon, I guess it'll be like / the Clack Shack. All of the blanks and stuff that I've found that I like and that I use on a regular basis, I've got that stuff in a category of laser engraving blanks and accessories or whatever. And you can go through there and look at some of that stuff. Anything from bottle openers to dog tags to anodized cards to acrylics, anything that you've seen in a lot of my videos that I use on a regular basis, I usually try to put a link in there so that if you go to the Clack Shack on Amazon, you can find those. Picked up a nice gig this weekend to modify 500 custom iPad Gen 4 cases to fit. I'm gonna see. Wow. Whew. I would tear that up trying to do that on a CNC. Unless there's very little modification needed to be done. No, I have it with bamboo. Now, if it was wood and it wasn't oiled properly, Edward, you probably would. Bamboo, because like I said, the fibers of bamboo are a little different than the fibers of wood. I've never really had a problem with it getting wet and doing anything crazy. Now, if you get, I will say, Klein bought some cutting boards that he was going to try out, and they had that problem. Hang on, I'll show you. Klein bought some of these, and I don't know why he did it, but he did. And they look pretty decent, but look at that. They're so thin, and they're actually, I think they're like acacia wood or whatever, that they've got a little bit of a bow to them. And he brought a couple of them over here for me just to, I guess, basically because he wasn't going to use them. But I think he swapped for bamboo because he didn't like these after he bought them. And I told him I would take them because it is a wood that is used on a lot of other projects. So if nothing else, I can use these to do a test grid if I get some acacia something or another, which I think I've got a job this coming up week for a sugar. It's a sugar dispenser, a sugar holder, and a salt and pepper shaker that all have like acacia wood on them. And so I may actually use one of these to get some ballpark settings for that job. So I always just like store stuff over here in the corner. Let's see what we got going on. I don't know if they're the equivalent to the ones that came with the MK2. I use mostly black ones. I don't know if I have any already engraved. Yeah. I use these guys. Now, I did this one on the fiber, so it does have some color to it, but you can do the same general thing with a diode, but typically the engraved is just going to be gray. But I actually added some color to this one with the fiber. But they're really solid, really thick, but they're black. I sell a lot of them, the patriotic ones at events. I put these things on a little chain, the little ball chain that comes with them, and I'll have like the tattered flag, or I'll have the 1776 flag, or I'll have the Gaston flag, or the Second Amendment thing, this guy. I'll have something like that on these, and I have to make them at the event to restock my little display because they sell out. But I wait to see which ones sell before I restock. I try to put like 5 of each one on there, and if I sell a couple of them, I'll start making a few of them. All right, so if you ever pull one off of there and you see that white right there, don't freak out. I don't know why it does it, but the powder will do that when you engrave these. But we'll go wash this one while we start the other one, and I'll show you what it looks like after you wash it. But it does that, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it didn't engrave. But once you wash this white powder off, it's the same color. All right, next on the list. Ooh, that's a long name. Next on the list, Castleberry. This one may take a little longer. I'll make sure I'm getting this right. Castleberry. Okay, we're good. Sending it. There we go. Off to the races, guys. So, yeah, somebody asked a question about the L2. Somebody. Oh, here we go, Matt. Switched to the L2 36 watt about 3 months ago, and it's a stronger laser, but it certainly has the drawbacks. Matt, I didn't have the L30, the 36. I had the 24, and to be honest with you, the autofocus drove me nuts because I couldn't take the cone off of it because that was where the sensor was, and secondly, because every time I would focus it, I would have to remember to home it before I send it back out, or else it would crash. And so I used it, and I got used to it. And once I got it into my workflow that set the focus, home, then send it. Once I got that branded into my head, I was fine. But then one day it just quit. I just recently parted it out to help somebody get their machine back up and going. So I no longer have an L24 because it died. Pretty sure the controller firmware corrupted, but never could get it worked out. And so I parted it out to help someone whose machine was down and needed parts that I knew were good on mine, and we worked something out to where we could get their machine back going. But let me go rinse this off, and I'll show you what it looks like once that white powder's gone. Well, this was actually a little lighter than I thought it would be. Right there where that white was, but it's still there. It's bamboo. It works. Uh, what? What's that about? Okay. I don't watch football, so I'll be out here working, getting my hustle on. All right, so it did kind of fade out a little bit, but it's bamboo. It works. All right. I can't help that one little strip of bamboo right there was a little different. So, but that works. It is, as far as the depth, it is just as deep as the rest of it. It just has a different color. So even if they can't, you know, like tell it's as dark, it's still deep. Prep my next one. All right, y'all quit commenting on me. Did I time out or what? Oh, and if you hadn't, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe. Go check out Steve too, by the way. We'll be on live tomorrow night. We've got a live stream today. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll be out here working. That's what we do. That's work. That's work. I don't watch football. I can either spend 3 hours, 4 hours sitting watching a football game, or I can spend 4 hours out here making stuff. I'd rather be out here making stuff. Ooh, this one's gonna be tough. I'm gonna go with that side. But no, I'll be out here tomorrow night, Steve. Don't worry. I'm trying to get all this projects caught up. I got to get, like I said, I got to get the stove covers finished. I got 4 of them over there built. I just got to stain them and do the handles and the little felt feet on them. And once I get these done, and I'm gonna invoice all this stuff out, and then hopefully maybe this coming up week I'll have a chance to drop those off and get paid for them. So, well. You don't have to worry about me. You don't have to worry about me standing you up for a football game. If Liam going the money, if I'm going the money, Pete, Debbie. I think we've had this discussion. That's going to be Pete. I would. It's going to depend on what you want to do with it. The 20 watt is not a bad machine. If you're not trying to, the only real big difference you're going to see between the 20 and the 30, you may get a little bit deeper cut. I don't know how much deeper because the focal length on them are probably the same. The only difference is with the 20, you may have to do like 2 passes on a piece of material, whereas the 30 could do it in 1 because because of the extra wattage, you're getting more heat, therefore you're getting a little bit more burn. But typically speaking, a 20 watt can cut as thick as a 30 or a 40. It just can't do it in the same number of passes. You're going to have multiple passes and find that sweet spot. So if you're not going to be doing a lot of cutting, or if you're not super, rushed with your jobs, a 20 would work fine if you needed to try to save a little money. The 30, like I said, if you're trying to do stuff fast, like what I'm trying to do here, I'm running 100% power and adjusting my speed to try to do them as fast as I can. The 30 will do it a little faster. On the flip side, if you're trying to do stuff really fine, the smaller beam would help. But with the Lasermatic, even though this is a 30, I can also flip the switch and turn it into a 10, I believe. I've never flipped the switch, but I can flip the switch and go with a smaller dot. So, the old thing of people saying that, you got to have a 10 watt to do fine detail and a 30 watt to do cutting. With machines like this one and a lot of the other ones that are coming out now, you have that switch capability. So, Scoot, as far as not looking at the price tag, looking at machine to machine without taking into consideration the cost difference, the MK2 is by far a better built machine and a lot sturdier machine. Now, with that said, if budget is a major consideration, the L8 is a usable alternative that would be cheaper. Now it's not exactly the same. The speed of the machine, the power, the cutting power, and all that of the L8 is good. I mean, I had no issues with the beam size or cutting or engraving with the L8. The enclosure's flimsy. It needs a little bit more supports. It needs some work, but they did actually trap the honeycomb so that it stays still, which is a plus. I like that. But it's more of a budget machine. That would be if like I said, if you were trying to get into it and just want to get started and want to get something that you could afford without having to, spend that much money, it might be a good alternative. But it is not the same machine as the MK2. The MK2 is built better than most every other machine that I've run across. There's a couple that are built really well, but they have different features. Oh, it's getting down to the last little bit. I can always tell because it's like. All right. All right, little disclaimer. If you do buy these cutting boards, occasionally you'll find one that's like 1/8 of an inch bigger, one direction or the other. So just know that. I had to adjust my jig a little bit. Next on the list is farmer. I think I can spell that, so let's get down here and do that. All right. Off to the races, guys. All right. What are your lowest and highest settings to do material test on bamboo with the 40 watt? With the 40 watt, I probably wouldn't go below 200 millimeters a second. Because you're going to be, with the 40 watt on bamboo, I'm wanting to say the S1 is in the Atom stack is somewhere around 300 millimeters a second is where I'm getting a good burn. So I would say definitely you definitely do not want to go below 100 millimeters a second with a 40 watt because you may burn it up. But yeah, I would probably try. You could go 150 up to like 400 and just have it. And then if you find where okay, it looks pretty good right here, but you really want to nail it down, then just kind of reduce the spread and do another one. But when you buy a pack of cutting boards, guys, just go ahead and know that you're sacrificing one to the cause right out of the gate. This is $4 and something. All right. I know when I buy a new product, one of them is done. It's sacrificed to the cause. But that will save me maybe 3 or 4 out of a pack of 12 because I'm not having to back up and redo, or mess one up or whatever. Because I know what I'm getting into. Because this is a little design that I did once I got my power settings. I flipped it over and did this little design just to see what the look looked like, see what kind of depth I got. So just when you buy a pack of these cutting boards, just go ahead and take one out of the box and just say, that one, I'm fixing to sacrifice it. Because like, my cost on these is less than $5, I think, tax and all. As long as I sell 2 or 3 others, I'll get my money back on this one. So I don't stress about it. I would rather go confidently knowing that the settings are going to work than be trying to guess. There's the Castleberry one, and you can see the white. The white is going to be a little lighter, but it'll still have good contrast. Like I said, I've still got the same depth because even though it burns a different color, your depth should be the same. I've never really had a problem with like one side burning deeper than the other. Bamboo usually burns consistently across through there. It's just the coloration is going to be a little bit different, but it's bamboo. Uh, Lisa, I'll put it to you this way: if you're running a P20, any kind of wood, try to put 100 millisecond, 100 millimeters a second, and 100% power in the middle of your speed test. If you do that with a P20 on wood products, you're going to find your setting. A lot of times, if I've got a wood material that I've never done and I don't have an extra piece to practice on with the P20, I would just run 100 and 100, and it worked. Now, you may not be quite as deep, or it may be a little deeper than you wanted it, but it'll work. So if you'll build you a speed and power test and put 100 and 100 right in the middle of that speed and power test, you'll get the ranges just below that and the ranges just above that. And like hickory, maple, magnolia, some of the other woods that are really, really hard, if you're trying to go for depth, you're going to have to run a lot slower than you would if it was pine, poplar, sweet gum, some of the other woods. Cherry's another one. Cherry's really hard. If you're trying to get depth with cherry, you're going to have to go slow. I don't know which side's better on this one. I'm just going to flip a coin. All right, we'll just go with this side. Because they both look about the same. So I'm going to go with this side. What's up, Brian? How are you, sir? Good to see you. Glad you made it. We just engraving some bamboo cutting boards, and since I got the exhaust hooked up on the MK2, I don't have to smell bamboo burning. And I don't have a hose run across the floor over to Enclosurezilla. Well, Jack, I hope you got your speeds and feeds right, because that cherry is tough. Little known fact, cherry is a wood that will actually tan if you put it out in the sun. So you can actually put a sticker, like you could put a Batman sticker on a piece of cherry, lay it outside in the yard for a week, go back and get it, pull the sticker off, and it would have tan lines. I just know that because I stacked some cherry one time and I didn't cover it up where the sun wouldn't hit it, and yeah, it had tan lines. Does redwood do that too? I didn't know redwood would do that. Never had any red. We don't have many redwoods here. So Jack said he uploaded a YouTube short. That'll be neat. I can go check that out. I still haven't heard from Shapeco. I'm starting to get nervous, guys. I hope I didn't get swindled. I got an email saying my order had been placed, and then I got a link saying, here's your links on how to put it together and everything. But I have not got nothing. So I'm still waiting on that. I'm ready to fill that table up over there. I've been feeding that CNC a lot. So I'm hoping that my big one will be here pretty soon. What colors? Oh, I've tanned redwood for an hour and then sealed it. Yeah, it's cherry will do the same thing. A lot of people don't know it, and I've heard some cabinet makers in town talk about, people were like, oh, I want cherry cabinets. And they would have like one window in their house that faced the sun. And so during the day when the sun would come out, the sun would come through the window, and as it went around, it would kind of pan across the cabinets, but it wasn't doing all the cabinets, just the ones in the middle. And so they wound up calling the cabinet maker out there and was like, hey, you gotta fix this. And what it was over a period of time, even through the sealer and everything, the wood in the middle had changed colors and had tanned, and the wood that wasn't getting the sunlight hadn't. I never even thought about that. Luckily, I've got maple cabinets in my house, and so I don't have that problem. Does the Lasermatic make a 40 watt? Pete, I think they have plans to, but I don't think it's out right now. I think the MK2, the 30 watt right now, is the biggest watt output that they have currently, unless they've snuck it out on me and I haven't heard about it. Imperfect saying I should have got a 150. Well, here's part of my reasoning for not getting a 150. Steve's already got a 150, so if anybody had a 150 question, Steve could answer it. And I didn't want to hear Steve saying that I was trying to be like him, so I decided to get something different, and and I wanted to kind of go with a U.S. company because I just felt like it might be easier with if I needed any service on it or whatever. But so far so good. I'm just waiting to hear back from them. September, is that what you're hearing, Brian? Brian said he's hearing that they may be a 40 watt in September, but that's a long wait. All right, next up, Rodriguez. So let's do that one. I really got to pay attention to my spelling on this one. It's one of those names I'm very prone to mess up. Riguez. Okay, there we go. All right, got it. Off to the races. So, so hopefully before the end of the month, because y'all know I'm going to Georgia the 29th. Yeah, we have the 29th this year's leap year. So the 29th, I'll be in Atlanta, and I've got to. I'm hoping to get my new machine in before then, where I can get it put together and at least play with it a little bit before I go. Because I'm gonna be spending the whole weekend at the Workbench Con in Atlanta, and I've still got to figure out where and when I'll be over there to see when we can sit around and maybe hang out. Who are these cutting boards for? What do you? No, not with bamboo. It's straight off. I wash them with soap and water after they're engraved. Dry them, like I just lay them out on the counter on a towel and dry them, stack them up, and deliver them. It's bamboo. Not a whole lot you got to do to bamboo. It does not rot really well. It doesn't draw a whole lot of moisture. Now, if they were real wood, I usually treat with mineral oil. I've got a big bucket of, or I say a bucket, it's like a jug of mineral oil that I coat them with if it's real wood. But with bamboo, I mean, you guys have seen the bamboo spoons and forks and stuff like that. Some of you probably got a bamboo spoon you've had for 10 years. And it's a whole nother creature. Like I said, it's not wood technically. Okay, why do we keep posting this in the chat? If I'm pretty sure everybody that watches football probably knows about that. Is that a spam bot, guys? Is Dakota a spam bot? No, apparently not. Don't know. But anyway, so do you go to work and say you smoke grass? No, I try not to say that a whole lot there, Brian. Okay, Dakota. All right, whatever. All right, Albert is haha so true. Probably talking about the spoon that you've had for 20 years. Yeah, bamboo stuff, you can't really get rid of it if you keep it inside. Can't help you on your face. Is it on Facebook? Is that where it's... Yeah, that's on Facebook. And if it gets much worse, I'll fix it. I don't know if it's... I don't know. We'll see. Have fun. As long as it stays PG, we're good. If it starts getting too out of hand, we'll nip that in the bud. But anyways, let's see how we're going over here. wearing it out. So if anybody ever asked you how many cutting boards you can engrave with a Rolly in so many hours, you'll know. Like I said, we're about halfway through the stack. I've got 4 left, and I think I had 10 out. So I've got Jackson Cup, Rife, and then I got to build a dog paw design. So Edward said he refers to bamboo as grass. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very close to a grass. I don't know if it would be considered a grass or a. I said it earlier. Anyway, it's very fibrous. It's the molecules of bamboo are not the same as. If you look at bamboo under a microscope and you look at wood under a microscope, it's 2 totally different things. And I don't know how they treat it over there. I don't know if they heat the stuff up or they dry it or just let it dry or what, but it's tough. Steve, yeah. Steve's in here. He's always like hanging out in the shadows, if nothing else. Albert, I would say yes. The S1's pretty fast. The white space movement, like between little small stuff, might not be quite as fast, but it would be comparable because it's going to have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to speed because it's a 40 watt, so you're going to have to actually go faster to keep from overburning. But it's going to have I don't know that it has the same as far as the back and forth because of that heavier module. I don't know that it would have that. So I think all together, it'd be a close race. Well, Steve, I figure you're probably. I mean, maybe. Because you don't want me talking bad about you. You got to kind of keep an eye on what I'm saying where you can defend yourself. The MK2 and the L8 40 watt are the same price. Yeah, I haven't played with the 40 watt L8. I didn't even know they had one. But keep in mind, like I said, the construction of the enclosure is different. I mean, even though I think they're both capable machines, the build quality and the enclosure is slightly different, even though they look a lot alike. Now, Imperfect Woodcrafts, bamboo does that. Trust me, I have done, I don't know, I order them 20 at a time. I usually order 20 a month. I've been doing them for 2 years. 20, oof. Hang on, guys, I got to get a calculator out. So I do about 20 a month times 24 months. So I've probably done close to 450 bamboo cutting boards, and I use the same type every time. And some will come out just a pretty brown all the way across. Some are going to have the stripes, but the stripes always coincide with the darker, like heartwood part of the bamboo. It's not really a wood, but you get the idea. The X2P2 does concave surface. That's something that should be. The XTP2? X2? I've got a P2. I haven't tried the concave surfaces, but yeah, I've got one sitting over there. I got a P2 back that way. I got an S1 sitting right there, and both of those will do concave surfaces. I haven't tried it, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't like adding stain. I mean, if it was like natural, maybe like some show enough authentic, like chestnut or extract or something like that, maybe. But I don't like adding anything that could have chemicals in it to anything that people are going to be putting food on. I just don't. That and if it's not needed, that's one less expense I got. Hey guys, bamboo cutting boards. We've done 5 so far. I think this is 6. Hang on. No, that's 5, and I've got 5 more. That's what we're doing. I may have miscounted when I got them off the shelf a while ago. Or maybe I was going to wait and do the dog paw one later. Yeah, I've got to design the design for the dog paws. I think that's why I didn't get but 9. Or did I get 10? Or maybe I counted my tester. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look here, guys. That happens every now and then. This is the first one I've ever had broken out of the box, but guess what? Next time I need to do a speed and power test, I got my board. So let me go get another one. When you buy the cheapest ones you can find, that happens. But I can honestly say that's the first time I've had one that's like broke. Like the layers had come apart on it. But that's good because I just got through burning up my tester. So now I got a new tester. Let's see. I think I like this side better. All right, like I said, see, still gonna have those little streaks. It's bamboo. Same thing will happen with, say, pine wood. If you're engraving pine and you hit a knot in pine, it'll still mark it, but it is not going to engrave it to the same depth as it is the wood around it. Because especially with pine trees, the sapwood is much softer than the heartwood is, and the dark orange parts of pine, that's actually a lot of sap in it, and that's why it doesn't burn, but it will dirty up your nozzle if you're not running air assist. So next up, guys, is Jackson. So gonna go ahead and send this one, and we're off. So are those boards 2? What are those boards 2? Not sure I'm following. I need some clarification on that, Pete. I didn't quite get. Mineral oil. I don't even know if it'll soak into bamboo. I'm gonna be honest with you. It may just wash off. But now, like I said, I wash them. I give them to them, and they love them. So that's all I got. No, it's basically it's like bamboo plywood. And I guess since I got one cracked, I'll show you. Find it. So most of these things, you can look in there and where you can see it. See it right there? So you got like 3 layers of bamboo. Hang on, I'm dropping laser glasses. So, like I said, bamboo, because the grain does run this way. If this was made completely out of bamboo running this way, you could bend it like that and it would snap. So what they do is, if you notice, the second layer, because it's exposed now, the bamboo runs this way. So just like with plywood, if you've ever cut plywood open, typically the fibers are going to run opposing each other. That's what gives plywood its strength over traditional wood, is the layers. You know, if it's a 6 layer, you may have one layer going this way, this way, this way, this way, and it's going to be all different directions. And the same thing with this. You've got basically 3 layers of bamboo. The top layers, the outer layers go up and down. The inner layer goes side to side. And that's what gives it its strength. So same thing. They do the same thing with plywood. That's why if you're building like a load-bearing beam or something like that, you can take, like, say, a 2x10, and you can go get you some plywood and cut pieces of plywood and put on that 2x10 and screw it all together and kind of make a load-bearing beam. Same principle, because plywoods, it's just a lot more rigid, because wood, natural wood, if it's got a knot somewhere and you put too much pressure, that knot is going to be a weak point and it's going to snap. But if you have layers upon layers, unless you have a situation where there's 2 knots on top of each other, you increase the overall strength of the material drastically. So Yes, this is 3 layers of bamboo. It's kind of a bamboo plywood. There you go. Now you know. Brandy came out here and moved the other chair in the way. Yeah, Brad. I think I saw a picture. Was it? What did you put pictures of your enclosures earlier, where you finally got the glass in them? Look pretty good. Look pretty good. But yeah, I had some scraps around here. I would show you. As far as wood. Typically, if a piece of wood breaks, it's going to break, somewhere along like where it's weathered, and like I said, the way that it's all about the way that the fibers or the molecules are connected. Plywood is naturally going to be way stronger. But yeah, that's your wood science lesson for today. Kind of like when you're going to buy lumber. Nobody wants to buy that 2x4 that has that 3-inch knot right in the middle of it, unless you're using it for, like if you're framing a house or something, you're going to use that for like cross supports where you're going to chop it down into 24-inch pieces, and you're going to throw that knot away more than likely. If you're doing ceiling joists, you do not want knots in the middle of your wood because it's going to break right on the knot. How far along are we? All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah, got Jackson's in there. I got Cup and Rife, and then the dog paw design, which I may or may not do. What time is it? Yeah, we may not do the dog paw design tonight because I'm gonna have to actually design that up. Which I may already have a dog paw. Do I already have a dog paw? Animals. Yeah, I already have a dog paw. Huh, that might make that quick. Right now on the machine, you can see I am running 200 millimeters a second. There's all the settings right there. 200 millimeters a second, 100% power. I do have air assist turned on. Fill mode, bi-directional. I am running 150 LPI just because bamboo can be stubborn at times, and I like to kind of have a little bit of a overlap burn. And of course, I'm running fill all shapes at once with a scan angle of 0. And a couple of reasons for that. All these bamboo boards, the grain runs this way because that's the way they're made. And so I'm going across, and I just like the way it looks. But secondly is the side-to-side movement on the Rolly is substantially faster than if you try to do front to back or if you try to do angles. So that's the fastest speed you can get out of that machine right there, because that axis, the acceleration and everything on the gantry is faster than the y-axis is. So there we go. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this side of this one because look how clean that one is. Then that one's got like a whole bunch of those knots right in the middle. Those are actually joints. Like when bamboo, you see the little knuckles on bamboo. That's what that is. Those are the little knuckles. And it's really hard right there. And those don't burn real well sometimes. So that's why I try to keep them out of the middle of my design. Brian, I pulled it up about a millimeter or so. I think I'm about a millimeter high because the Rolly is very fine focused. So I focused it and then I turned the knob maybe a quarter of a turn up just to pull it out just a little bit, because if you don't, sometimes with bamboo and wood, you actually will engrave it, but it won't color it. So I forgot to mention that. Well, Brad, those ought to burn nicely. Now I will tell you if it's black walnut, I've done a few butcher block type or stripped type cutting boards, and the black walnut tends to just eat the engraving. It's only running 5%, overscan. I don't know that it helps, but that's what I've got my machine set up to run so that they can use the acceleration. And as long as you're not doing anything that's too big, that's going to get you close to the edge of the machine, and you stay in the middle of the work area, I don't have any issues with it. It does keep the machine from being quite as jerky when it's going back and forth. Cup, Cupp. I don't know where none of some of these names come from. So Jackson is done. Cupp. And yes, that is the name. So there we go. And so far, I said the first one we did has had a chance to dry now, so y'all can kind of see what it looks like. That's the one that the first one we did. Cleaned it with water. I have not cleaned it with soap yet. This is the second one. Washed it off with water, and yes, there's that light spot. But like I said, it's bamboo. You can expect that. So you can even see where on the little sifter or the whisk, part of the whisk up top actually burned brown because it's not in that one little line of bamboo right there. But everything that's in that one little line of bamboo did not burn as well. And that's just luck of the draw. But it's bamboo. And that's the way it happens. So, not a big deal. But yeah, like I said, I've had pretty good luck with these things. They're cheap, but they engrave pretty well. And they've held up. As far as I know, they've held up good. The customer that I use, like I said, I make stove covers for them as well. And so far, I hadn't had any of these come back. So, that's good. Considering about once a month, I'll make like 10 for them, I guess. Yeah. So, and they haven't brought me one back yet. So, been fortunate on that. I wouldn't mind if they were a little thicker, but can't complain when you get them for this cheap. Oh, this one's got joints all over it. I think I'm gonna go with this side though, the lesser of two evils. No, Blair, the glasses don't work with the computer. They only work with Facebook or Instagram. And I can do the clips like I did for my little short. But basically what I have to do is I have to save the clips to the glasses. And then once I get all the clips together, I transfer them over to my phone. And then I just use the iMovie app on my phone to put them together and change the speeds and all that. And then I upload them to YouTube as a short. So stove covers are 22 and a half by 30 and a half. Every single one of them. Exactly. 22 and a half by 30 and a half. I have played around with different measurements, but I had my customer, which is the trailer sales place, I had them basically go out and measure stoves and figure out how big they wanted them to where it would fit most any stove that they would sell in any of the modular homes or mobile homes. And that was the size that they came up with. And I've tested it. That size works on my stove as well in my house. So 22 and a half by 30 and a half. I have had to make a couple of them because I had a couple people order them that had the older stoves that had three eyes, three stacks of eyes instead of two. And so I've made them up to, I think it was like 43 inches wide, but that was just for one stove that was really, really old. I've also made them smaller for campers and RVs, as well as made sink inserts for campers and RVs to where, because you don't have a whole lot of cabinet space or counter space in an RV. So a lot of people will get a board made that sits down in the sink and kind of turns it into like a sandwich prep area or whatever. And a lot of people want them to where you can use them as a cutting board, and like you'll put a little hole in there so they could actually scrape, like if they're doing food or whatever, they can scrape the food off in the hole and it falls down in the sink. So if you're, say you're getting some meat ready to cook on the grill and you're cutting off the fat and that kind of thing, you can actually use it as a cutting board and then just kind of drop the scraps down through the hole into the sink. And then once you get everything cut up, you can go back and clean the sink out. I've made a few of those random sizes, but the bulk of the stove covers that I make are all the 22.5 by 30.5, unless it's otherwise. Albert, no, I don't cut them out because it's just cheap for me to buy them. Now, oak, like any kind of cutting boards other than the bamboo ones, typically I do cut myself on a CNC. But like these bamboo ones, they wanted bamboo. They asked me, can you do bamboo cutting boards? And I said, yes, I can. And they said, can you draw us up a couple of designs and let us look at them? And so I drew up a couple of designs, and we agreed on a price, and I have made several hundred of them since. So when cutting on your laser, if you have a spot where the lines do not match up, what could be the cause? There are several things that could be the cause, Samuel. But 9 times out of 10, if your machine was cutting normally at one point in time, or if it's a new machine, even, I would say there's a really good chance that it's going to be either belt tension, the timing linkage that connects the two sides of the belt, and even possibly, I found this out a while back, even possibly you've got one of your concentric nuts on one of the wheels really, really too tight. I did find out that can also cause that problem. I had a little bit of problem with that with the X40. When it got down to really tiny circles, it wasn't making, the circles weren't completely circular. I thought it was the belts. I thought it was the timing linkage. It wasn't either. And I wound up figuring out that what it was one of the rubber wheels was way too tight. And it was basically, when it would try to turn, as long as the stepper was engaged, it would move. But as soon as the stepper disengaged, it would rock back because that wheel was so tight. So those are 3 things I would check. Concentric nuts, if you have wheels on your machine, the rubber wheels, belt tension, and timing linkage. Now, there is a possibility that your XY steps configuration is messed up, but I doubt it. I have yet to find anybody that had that problem, that had that was the issue. Jim, these range depending on what I'm doing. I have some generic designs that I sell that I will sell at events for 20 to 25 bucks, depending on the design, just to, have something to sell. Typically, custom stuff goes for around 30. These are for a business customer of mine, and they buy lots of stuff from me. So these are 35 tax included. And so basically, I think I make like 31 something plus tax or whatever it comes out to be. Anyway, take 35 and divide that. Take 8% sales tax off of it, and that's what I get. Because they don't like to, when I quote stuff to them, they don't want me to quote it plus tax. They want me to just give them a price and then take the tax off. So I have to kind of figure that in my head when I make the quote. Good luck with the acacia cutting boards from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, Hobby Lobby's got some pretty good ones. If they're about 1 inch thick with that acacia wood, I haven't seen any problems with them. But when you start getting down to like 1/2 inch or thinner with that acacia, any wood, when you get down to 1/2 inch or thinner, you're asking for trouble. Even the oak that I got, like my little plaque that I made, the flag that I made, it's really thin. If it gets enough moisture in it, it will bow. All right, so got that one done. Let's get it off. All right, this is going to be the last one for this name design that I have. RIFFE. That is correct. Send it. All right. So, yeah. Actually, Chris, I think they do, because the lady, my point of contact there, actually watches the channel from time to time, because I'll go in to drop off something and she'll mention something I did in the video. So yeah, I'm sure they know I'm terrible at math. That's why I have QuickBooks and a calculator. Uh, I just I just do a calculator. I put it in QuickBooks and go from there. What type of wood do you use for stove tops? I buy their hobby panels is what they're called at the big box store. The ones I get are 3/4 of an inch thick. I think they're 23 by 60 something. Don't make me quote that. But basically, for one of those hobby panels, I can make two of the stove covers. And I've got my stove covers down to a science to where it's literally I make two cuts, one cut with a skill saw to split it off of the main board. Then I take it over to the table saw, rip the edge off of it. Then I take a 1x4 pine, and I've got a jig on my chop saw, and I just chop, 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 chop. One by 4 makes two stove covers as far as the sideboards, and then one panel makes two stove covers. Uh, and then I order the handles and stuff from Amazon, and the little padded feet. I usually pick those up at Lowe's or Home Depot. I've been trying some different kinds. The ones I've got now are actually made by Scotch, because some of the older ones that I got, the cheaper ones, like if it got hot in the shop or whatever, they would start to try to turn loose or whatever. Edward, yes, they have rare earth magnets. I think I've got 6 rare earth magnets in each corner bracket. I use those on pretty much any machine in the shop because I've got all of my honeycombs are steel. So I can use those in the P2. I can use those in the S1 or whatever. I have similar that I've made for the CNC, but they use clamps. But yeah, I'll show them to you when this gets done. But it's just a little laser file I built, and I built it specifically for the magnets. Dropped a little bit of super glue in the recess in the back of it because it's a 2-layered build, and then take those rare earth magnets and stick in there, let that super glue set up, and you're good to go. But yeah, those are and with the Lasermatic, because the honeycomb is fixed. As long as I put that one up against the edge of the honeycomb, it makes sure that my jig pattern that I've got built in a light burn right here. You can see I've got a tool line this tool line's locked, so you can't move it. You can't do anything with this tool line right here. In order to move it, I have to actually right click it and unlock it. So what that does is that makes sure that when I get ready to center whatever design I'm doing, I can click it, then click this tool line, and I can center it and know that it's actually in the center where it needs to be. So normally I use my squaring jig on all my other machines. You'll notice that in Enclosure Zilla, I have my squaring jig on the wall right there, and I got my teeth hanging out on the other squaring jig. And in my other enclosure, I've got the kit set up on it. But with the Lasermatic, because the honeycomb is trapped and can't move, I just reference off the honeycomb. No, imperfect wood designs, they're bamboo. I don't seal them with anything. I wash them and with soap and water, just regular dish soap. Now, I do use a little bristle brush or whatever, just to kind of when I'm washing them with the soap and water. I'll run the sink like half full of soapy water and just basically wash them like I'm washing pots and pans. Not that I do that a lot, in case Brandy's watching. As far as washing pans, I don't wash a lot of pans. So that was getting close to done. I guess I could go ahead. Let me open a new window here. I've got to make another design. Dog paw, left side Jones 2015. So let me open up another window right here, and we will. I think we'll go ahead and knock this other design out right quick. So let me get going over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my design for. I'm going to take that out of there. Take that out of here. All I wanted was the frame, so that I get this right. Then I've got to get an animal, so I'm going to need a dog footprint. All right, dog footprint there. Got to put the name Jones, Jones, and the year 2015. and they're wanting this like left and right. I don't. I may have to wait until I can send this to her to let her look at it because I don't know that that's going to look right. But if I did a minus 45 and minus 45, maybe if I did it like that. Oh, get off there. I do not like the look of that. All right. Well, I think that'll work. I think that'll work. So I may go ahead and burn that one if they don't like it. Well, she specifically said, and I'll read it in my text message, make sure I got it right, because sometimes people want certain things, and whatever the customer wants, the customer gets. But what I've got, let me check my text message here and make sure. That's not a dog paw she sent me though. That's a bear paw. Looks like a bear paw. I don't know if they knew what they were doing. Yeah, I may wait and just send that off. I may just send that image to get her to approve it before I do it. But it's saying a stove cover with this on the inside, the bottom of the footprint Jones, and the left side 2015. We're gonna have to get some clarification before I burn that. I think she's wanting it in the paw print, so we're just gonna wait on that one. I don't think that design is gonna suffice, so we're gonna wait on that one. Oh, last one's done, I guess, because I'm gonna wait until I get some clarification on that last design. All right. Yeah, I like to design my own, but if they say they want a certain way, they're paying, so they get the certain way. But what I'll do is I'll message her tomorrow. I'm not gonna do it now. It's late. I don't like messaging people at night, so I'll message her sometimes tomorrow and see if she can give me a little clarification, or maybe just wait till Monday whenever I go by there or whatever. But that's what I was using in the machine. And these are just little small rare earth magnets. I've got some bigger ones, but strength in numbers. And the way a honeycomb is there's a chance that one of these might be kind of like hanging off over one of the holes. So I felt like the more of them I put on there, the better chance they would stick. And they do a pretty good job. So it's just a burn file. That's all it is. It's 2 layers, 4.5mm Luan. And there's actually 2 of those little magnets stuck together in that hole because it's 4.5mm deep. So what I did is I made sure that they snapped together so that they were attracted to each other, and then just put them together in the hole with the glue, and then that's it. Super glue, CA glue, and you got magnetics. But they work really well with metal honeycombs because you can use them. You can use them to jig stuff out and hold things still. Make sure nothing slides, especially when you're running high speeds. But like I said, I'll take these things and use them in whichever machine I'm working with that day. I need to make more of them. I just haven't got around to it. But yeah. Lisa, no, I didn't put it on Etsy. I could, but you would have to make sure there's just. a lot of times I put files on Etsy and people give me a hard time because either their material's not the same thickness or they can't find the same thickness material or they can't find the magnets. But I actually did order the magnets from Amazon. So, so I could say about that. But that might be something one day. Maybe we'll just do a video and drop it in there or something. I don't know. We'll see. It's a simple file though. It's just like I said, just make you a square. You can make a little circle and put in the corner if you want it to look all official, and kind of overlap that and use the tool, the cut tool to cut that out of there. And then you just got to measure your magnets, make them as tight as you can, because CA glue is good, but those things are kind of slick. So you want it to basically be where you put the glue in the bottom and you smash those in there. You want it to be snug for the magnets going in, and that way the CA glue just adds that little bit of extra bite to it to keep them from popping out when you lift it up. Yeah, but I don't. Like I said, if you know, you can get them wherever. I bought like a little box. I've got all sizes of them, tiny ones up to quarter size ones. Now the quarter size ones, don't drop those on a piece of flat steel that doesn't have an edge you can get it to, because you can't hardly get them off of there. But anyway, guys, it's an hour and a half in. Any questions about the bamboo or the MK or anything we haven't touched on tonight? And I'll do the Paul one later once I get some clarification. Yeah, I've got some now, Chris. I just ordered some more. If yeah, I have rolls of magnets. I have the flat rare earth magnets. I have magnets that have holes in them that you can run screws through. And I have refrigerator magnets that are the old whatever material this is, that I hot glue these to the back of refrigerator magnets when I make them. So I have a plethora of different magnets. This stuff, not a big fan. I bought 2 rolls of it because I found a good deal on it. Not a big fan. The ones with the screws that go in them, those are nice when you're doing woodworking stuff or trying to stick stuff there. Ceramic, yeah, that's what it's called. But yeah, these are my faves. Just the little plain rare earth ones, or the ones with the screws. These are my favorites. So these work okay for fridge magnets and stuff, but anything that you really want to hold still, they don't work that great. But anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for stopping by. And like I said, I hope this helps. If you've been, wondering about bamboo, or, if you engrave bamboo and you look at it and you're like, oh, I did something wrong, just remember bamboo is not the same as wood. Even with wood, knots, sapwood, heartwood, it's going to burn different. So, just keep that in mind. And like I said, with bamboo, I don't treat mine. I'm not saying that you couldn't, but I don't know that it's really necessary. It may just be added expense and added work on your part. Because like I said, I do know that we've got some bamboo spoons that we've had since we got married. And that was been almost 30 years ago. And they still work. So bamboo is a very resilient material. And I don't know that it needs any treatment. That's just my personal thing. But yeah, Chris said he don't like the roll tape either. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll find a need for it someday or another. But for right now, you can see how much of this one I used. Very little. And I just, like I said, I didn't like it. But if you're looking for the bamboo cutting boards that I use, guys, like I said, I've dropped the link in the comments. I'll go back and add it to the descriptions of the videos as well. But anytime you're looking for materials to use for engraving or whatever, if you go to the Clack Shack on Amazon, and I know it's weird, guys, but yeah, Amazon gave me a store, technically. I do have a category in there for laser engraving blanks and accessories, such thing as, I mean, even some of this stuff. I'll put it in there because I know that people who do laser projects need certain things from time to time. And and so anything that I find that I like, I try to drop it in there. That way, if somebody messages me, I can just say, "Hey, I've got it listed in my shop. Go check it out." So if you want to check that out, you should see the same image as everywhere around here. That's the background image for it, just like the Etsy shop and everything else. And there'll be all kinds of little projects, the things that you can use in the Etsy shop or the Amazon shop portion. And most of those things, you can go to my channel and search for them, and you'll find a video where I used them in that video, especially like the bottle openers and, you know, the anodized cards and stuff like that. All of that stuff, I'm going to have a video somewhere showing you how I did them. So that's just a resource that you might want later on. Jim, you talk about on the cutting boards? I'd have to look at that file. Let me see what that file is. We'll see right quick. That font is Bodina Moda 11 point semi-bold is what it's saying up here. But it's almost like an engraver's font, but it's a little thicker. So it has a little bit. I use the same one on the stove cover designs as well. And they like it. Like I said, I prototype the design out. Anytime I get a customer, I usually try to prototype the design out. I'll put a cutting board in there, take a picture of it, like I would take a picture of the way the screen looks, like right here, and that way it looks like it's on the cutting board. Send it to them, and when they say, "Yeah, I like that," then I fire up the laser and burn it. But yeah, and then once they approve the design, it gets saved in their customer folder. And anytime I make one for them, then I just open it back up and go there. Yeah, I don't know that I'd put it in the dishwasher there. Not because those dishwashers heat up to like 160 something degrees, and that might not be good for a bamboo cutting board because you're getting it wet and then you're heating it up to 160 degrees. Yeah, that might not be good. I would probably not do it in the dishwasher. I just rinse it in the sink. But anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget tomorrow, Sunday night. I know there's a football game on, but if you're like me and you're not really into watching football, you'd rather be doing something in the shop or learning something about something in the shop, come check it out. Sunday Night Live, myself and Steve. There will at least be some entertainment, especially if Brian shows up. If not, maybe we can learn something, maybe come up with some resources for you, or give you a little bit of information that maybe you wouldn't have got anywhere else. So share the word, and let's try to get some folks to show up, so it's not just me and Steve and Brian and Chris. Because I'm pretty sure Brian and Chris will at least have it playing, even if they're not paying attention. But you guys have a good night, and stay safe. Till next time. See ya.